Let's go over some important on-chain metrics, a Ethereum analysis, and some trade entries. So for those of you who are new to our channel, we do an Ethereum video here every week. We'll go over some key on-chain metrics, some relative news, technical analysis, and some trade entries that our team is looking at. We do try to get out multiple videos throughout the week, especially if it's particularly volatile or if there's some important information that I want to get out to you guys. As always, for your guys' convenience, I will section out the video so you guys can skip to the trade entry if that's what you're interested in. And do check out our trading community in the description down below. It's 100% free, so if you're interested in learning or improving with the group of like-minded people, the Discord is open. But without further ado, let's get started here. So on our channel, we trade along smart money by gauging exactly what institutional investors are doing. So a lot of the metrics we like to track are metrics that measure larger transactions. So this first metric I wanted to take a look at was the number of addresses of Ethereum with balances greater than 10,000 Ethereum. You can see that it has been particularly volatile over the last year or two, but the main thing to note is that the overall trend of the number of addresses with a balance over 10K has been steadily increasing. If whales are buying, it is usually a very bullish sign. The next metric I want to look at was the balance on exchanges of Ethereum on all exchanges. You can see over the last several years, the number of Ethereum on exchanges has been steadily declining, with a massive decline here on the most recent drop. What this means is that many Ethereum investors are taking their Ethereum off of exchanges, but rather they are trying to stake their Ethereum or just hold it in hot or cold wallets. This is also just a very bullish trend, as the more Ethereum goes off exchanges, the less Ethereum there is in total circulating supply and less liquidity and less sell pressure. The next metric I want to take a look at was the total effective balance for Ethereum. You can see also that this trend has been increasing fairly linearly. The total effective balance is essentially the number of Ethereum staked. Ethereum has recently finished its first cycle and Ethereum is able to be unstaked, which is why you can see sort of a downtrend here, almost a top forming, but I don't think many people will sell Ethereum. I believe it's just some people taking some profits off of their staked Ethereum. Overall, this linear trend line is a fairly bullish sentiment. You can see that off the recent pump on Ethereum, many shorts got liquidated. There was a massive spike of short liquidations, but something I do want to point out is that long liquidations are increasing while short liquidations are decreasing at this very moment. And for our technical analysis, we will do a longer time frame and a shorter time frame analysis. Therefore, this data on long liquidations going up and short liquidations going down will prove fairly useful for gauging the direction of the market. Let's get to our technical analysis now. So Ethereum has broken above this previous weekly high, creating a breaker structure on the weekly chart. This is a very, very bullish sign. Although there is likely a pullback coming here fairly soon, if you're fairly new to the crypto markets, something you have to know is that in cryptocurrencies, extended moves like this can last a lot longer than people think. Therefore, there are a lot of targets up here that I'm currently looking at, and a lot of resistance levels and zones of supply. We have blasted through a lot of resistance levels here and have now become support. So if you zoom out here, there's a long-term support that we were finding resistance on here, and we finally found it as support, and that is what led to this recent last 50% of this rally. This last low right here is the last weekly low, so if weekly candles do actually come down and breaking this low, you can expect some sort of retap of supply and a large move back down to the range lows down here, wicking out a lot of this liquidity before move up. But because I am fairly bullish on the market, I don't think this will be the case. And I do think this weekly level right here is going to be a very critical level and a protected low. Some other critical macro resistance levels are this 52-week high and this daily resistance level. So two of my main levels that I'm looking on Ethereum will be based off of these two levels here. So just to recap a analysis on the weekly, I do think we are going to see a continuation to the upside, breaking a lot of these previous resistance levels. And if we do go on our rampage, I do think this 52-week high is something that we can test. But in my opinion, I think we'll find rejection on some lower levels of resistance here, and I'll show you that on the daily chart here. So now if you go down to the daily chart, there are several key levels I wanted to note. There is a daily order block lying right here on this level. On top of that, we have two weekly fair value gaps that are likely going to get filled fairly shortly. Also, this top weekly fair value gap is also in line with the Ethereum CME gap. So if I go over to that chart right here, you can see that Ethereum has formed a CME gap around the 2550 to the 2630 mark. CME gaps are created when the price of Ethereum moves significantly in one direction after the CME or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has closed for the day, leaving a gap in the price chart between the closing price of one day and the opening price of the next day. This is just pockets of liquidity, and since the markets are run on liquidity, and liquidity is how smart money makes their money, these CME gaps will more than often get retraced. You can see that all of these CME gaps here have been retraced, and some of them fairly perfectly. You can see that this CME gap right here was a great level of support, as that is exactly where we fell before a push up here. So coming back to this chart, we do have the CME gap lying between 2550 and around 2630, which is right in this golden pocket, and a daily fair value gap on the Ethereum chart as well. So if we do go on a rampage here on Ethereum, I do expect this CME gap to get filled, sees a little bit of retrace, find support and daily resistance, which will now be support. And I would like to ideally see a good reaction off of tapping into this order block. This is an ideal scenario that I would like to see on Ethereum, and I will be basing my shorts around this position. As price enters this area of interest of mine, I will be looking to shift my positions heavily to short positions. Also note that there are relatively equal highs right here, which are more pockets of liquidity on top of weak highs right here. And if you follow my channel and a lot of my trades, you can see that weak highs will often get taken out. These are all weak highs right here. Weak highs are also just pockets of liquidity, and you'll probably find me repeating it a lot, but liquidity is how smart money makes their money. And it's very, very important to know exactly where pockets of liquidity are on your charts, as it'll help you identify areas of reversal, support, and resistance. So we have some bullish candles here on the daily and the weekly, and we are seeing some sort of accumulation right now on Ethereum. I am expecting one more push up on Ethereum, as we do have a break of structure here. We could see a wick of liquidity, a candle coming down before our push up, as we have a lot of price magnets in this area. These fair value gaps are also just pockets of liquidity. On top of that, we do have broken bases. Broken bases are also change of characters, and if you follow our trading strategy on this channel and how we maintain such a high win rate, it is by identifying these broken bases and these areas of high supply and demand. Therefore, with my analysis on the daily chart, it is in line with my theory on a bullish market here for Ethereum, and I would most likely want to see a move up here before I look for short positions. But I would also like to provide you guys with the bearish scenario as well. We are pretty much near the range top. This line right here is the range top of this macro range that we have been ranging in. We have swept out a lot of liquidity up here. Therefore, there is a lot more liquidity that is lying below. So if Ethereum is bearish for the next few weeks to the next few months, you can see a lot of this liquidity getting wiped out. And remember, the key level that I said we needed to watch out for was this level right here at around 1670. This low right here, if that gets broken by a weekly candle close, I can almost guarantee that we will be bearish. We'll probably see some retaps into supply, maybe a lot of ranging here, and then it's very, very likely that we will retest these range lows, sweeping out a lot of the liquidity from these relatively equal lows and these relatively equal lows. If this is the case, I will be hedging my bets, shifting them pretty heavily to be long. If I were to set up a trade here, a good swing trade I'll be looking at is at this order block with my stop loss above the swing high at the top of the order block, as if price goes past this order block, my trade will be invalidated. It could also be smart to have a more sensitive, or to have a less sensitive stop and have DCA positions from a lot of this resistance levels to the fill of this fair value gap and CME gap to the fill of this order block, and possibly have like one more order in this order block. Whatever your risk tolerance is or your trading strategy is, this is my area of interest for Ethereum that I will be looking to go short. Remember, I do not try to set limits, but rather our trading strategy revolves around the sweep, change of character, and retap of supplier demand. And if you guys are not entirely sure on my trading strategy, I do have video courses on it. Definitely go do check that out. And to explain my strategy on market reversals really quickly, we like to see an accumulation, a sweep, change of character, and then a retap of supply or demand, and then our real move down. After the liquidity builds up, we like to see a sweep of all the liquidity. Afterwards, we like to see the recent low get broken by candle close. This is your first confirmation, and this is your second confirmation. Our third confirmation is a retap into supply, where the supply zone is created by the change of character to the recent high. This is your supply zone. When we take our positions, after we have two confirmations, we like to set limit orders stops above the recent high or other significant levels, confirming our theory on bearish order flow here, which gives us a very high chance win rate for the majority of our trades. This is how we maintain over an 80% win rate trading most of our cryptocurrencies here on the channel. So ideally, I do want to see this sort of price action up here in this order block, or a large wick, or multiple taps into this order block, and a good reaction out of this zone of supply. In terms of targets, it would depend on the current price action leading up to this order block, but ideally we would have multiple take profit targets. And I do make Ethereum videos fairly often, and definitely as PA develops, I will be giving you guys more information on where I'm planning to enter and exit my trades. So just to recap, I am very bullish at the moment. I do think we'll see a lot of these resistance levels broken, and in this area up here, this is where I will be looking for short trades. If we are bearish, my analysis on that is that we will just get rejected off of this current range high, wiping out a lot of the liquidity back here from May and June of 2022 of last year. So this will be just wiping out a lot of liquidity from 1 year back here. And if we do see that, I can see us tapping into this broken base and then finally seeing a reversal back to down to the range lows, or a rejection here, holding this low as a protected low, creating a new high up here before moving back up. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like and a subscribe if this is something that you guys are interested in. It helps me out a lot. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.